Hello, everyone, and welcome to SPED 501. I'm coming to you from Screenomatic, a service for making and posting videos, and it seems to be really easy. So we'll see how it goes. I'm just telling you where I'm making the recording from because I want you to know that it might be a good resource for you to utilize when you want to post online with something. So anyway, glad to see you virtually. I wish we were all back together, but we're not, so we'll make the best of it. This is an online course. That means that we don't have any formal class meeting times. The work is paced weekly, and I'd ask that you do your best to keep up with those deadlines. But overall, you're going to be working on your own throughout the semester on a variety of projects and tasks. So let me just talk about them briefly. Each week, there is a weekly assignment reflection where I ask you to talk about in more depth the issues, or talk about the issues associated with the characteristics of disabilities and the interventions, best practices that we utilize to support our students. I ask you to comment on those kinds of things more deeply. Because to me, there's like two aspects of the course in a way. You're going to take a quiz every week, and I don't like quizzes and stuff, but the bottom line is, in a course like this, it's really important that you have some command of the factual information that is contained in how we diagnose kids and what evidence-based treatments are. And the quizzes, I hope, help you sort that information out. It is by all means open book. I mean, I realize you're home, so you could do it anyway, open book, and not tell me, but I'm telling you. It's an open book. Those are open book quizzes. I want you to use the quiz as a way to learn the information, that factual information, better. Then those written assignments are a way to look at other issues, how we might support the social emotional needs of a student, or how we might use a lesson to implement some of the things in the evidence-based strategies that we think would be useful for the students. So that's what the written assignments are about. And as I just mentioned, the quizzes are weekly, open book. You can take them online. One thing to say about the quizzes, which is confusing. The quizzes are worth 10 points each. However, each quiz has 50 questions. Okay, I don't know what the mathematical computation is, how to make 50 go into 10, but it's set up on the website to do that. So what I mean by that is, if you missed one question, you might have like a 9.875 score because it's based on 10 points. Okay, so I know that's always confusing to people because they're like, I got 48 out of 50, but it says I only got 9 something, right? That's what it means. It means it's just been calculated because otherwise, I mean, if I did 50 points per quiz, either it would be such an inordinate amount of points for one activity, or I'd just be adding 1,000 points to the scores or whatever. So anyway, it just seemed easier to do it that way. So I hope it's not confusing. There's also weekly discussion posts, and I ask that in those posts that you think of bringing in the readings and the material that we're talking about, so that it's not just your opinion about everything, which I do want to hear, of course, but that you're basing your opinion on the work that we're doing in the course to learn what best practices are, or as I said a bit earlier, how to house things within the language of the law. And I'm not always big on that because, I think working with kids, we want to normalize as much as we can. But this is one time where I don't want to say we're pathologizing kids, but we're learning, pathology kind of language. Okay. The diagnostic language. And so that's why that is important for me, that you try to bring that into discussions, etc., so that we have a more seamless way of talking about things to each other. There are two other assignments that, well, there are three other ones, but I'm only going to talk about two other ones. Well, let me talk about the other one first. Pre-COVID, this course has had a 20-hour observation requirement in which you were to look at other classrooms, other than the ones that you might be in, and work with students. I'm sorry, observe students in other settings and other teachers to respond to a set of questions about your observation. I think what we're going to do is utilize some videotapes to do sort of the same thing. But that's not fully gelled yet for me. I need to think about the best way to do it because I don't want to make it, an exercise that's just I'm making you do it. So I figured out here's some videos because I tried it last semester, as COVID started, and I just threw together some videos and I wasn't convinced it was the best way to do it. So I'm kind of looking at that assignment and figuring out how we might proceed with that. So anyway, it's called Clinical Observation Report. It's worth 30 points in the class. So I just want you to know that right now that's on hold just for like maybe a week at the most, but I will get back to you about that. There is a CEC principles assignment. The CEC has 12 principles that they utilize to sort of oversee the field ethically, professionally, etc. And in this assignment, you're asked to do two things. You're asked to respond to what the ethical principles mean in practice. Like how does that look operationalized? So there are some questions that I pose that you respond to for each of the prompts. Or I'm sorry, each of the principles, which is essentially is the prompt. You're looking at a principle and then you're responding to how this applies to the field, to you as a teacher, etc. People tend to respond to those in two different ways. Some people do more like a bullet point of ideas. Other people write a narrative. It doesn't matter to me as long as you cover the material. The only problem with bullet pointing is that sometimes people are so brief that they don't really let me know what they know. So, they'll say something like, I'm just like going to make something up. They'll say something like, use a social emotional curriculum. And they think that I know that that means all these things that they're thinking about when they say it. If you bullet point, you do need to say enough information that I can understand that you know how to make application to the principles. So if you wrote instead, something about recommending a social emotional curriculum of some sort or whatever, you could say in light of the developmental needs of children and so-and-so's research that says that we need to directly teach these tasks. Okay, then I go, oh, now I get it. That's why you're recommending that. That's how that applies to the principle. So I have no problem with you bullet pointing. Just make sure that you're saying enough that I know, what you mean. I have to laugh because I got that assignment. I got an assignment one time from somebody and it was really short. I mean, it was really short. And I read it and I was like, oh my gosh, this is insane. It was so good. So it's not always length that matters, right? So because like with that paper, she bullet pointed, but I mean, they were so tight. I mean, like she told me exactly what she was doing and why. So that's what I'm looking for. There's also an academic position paper that is due at the end of the semester. And in that paper, you'll see the assignment, but I just ask you to speculate about the kinds of things that we're approaching and looking at in the field. And you can do that from looking at a number of perspectives. You can look at, something like self-determination. You can look at autism. You can look at a lot of different things to talk about a position that you would take. So, for example, let's say that you have a belief that all children, regardless of disability, should be fully included in the classroom. And there's some people who believe that. Um, Make your point, right? So what's your position? That's what I'm asking you to do, is talk about a position. That you're looking at something like, it could be an evidence-based practice for autism, and you're trying to decide whether this is a good practice or not, or how it would be best implemented for students. It's pretty much wide open. One thing I want you to make, well, I shouldn't say it's wide open. When you read the assignment, you'll see there are some parameters, but I mean, it's open for you to think about the subject matter that interests you most and how you would utilize that to make a case in the paper. That is a paper that requires APA format. I would encourage you to go to OWL at Purdue. OWL at Purdue is a wonderful online writing lab, is what it stands for. They have wonderful resources, and I would encourage you to go there. It'll tell you how to write APA in a nanosecond. Okay. And I believe I've discussed it all. The assignments. I think so. That's it for the course. I don't know. It's always hard to know, I should say, maybe as the writer of a course, how it looks to you. I think it's pretty self-explanatory. So I hope that you will be patient in the beginning and just take a look. The first assignment is probably the strangest assignment you'll have, because I'm asking you to think about some things in a new paradigm. Sometimes people are a little worried that they don't understand that assignment. Don't make it too tough. I'm really more interested in your thinking about some of the concepts they raise, okay? Also, I have two sections of this course, and one section just got uploaded very recently. I didn't see all of you. So if there are any issues with getting the textbook or whatever, I'll make accommodations for you. And by the way, I've built an extra week into the course, so we can always move things up if we need to. So if there are any issues with materials, don't panic, because I thought I'd gotten a hold of everybody, but I obviously didn't. So don't panic about that. We'll make sure that those things get worked out. The most important thing is stay healthy this semester. Okay, I wish you Godspeed, as they say, in your health and your semester ahead. I hope that you enjoy it. And please, please feel free to reach out to me if you need something. I put a couple of places that my cell phone number is 312-607-7007. I'd prefer that you text me. If something you need a question before you think I'm going to be able to get back to you, or if I've made a mistake and missed an email and not gotten back to you, I don't want you to feel like you have to just wait for me. So you're free to text me, and if need be, we'll call you back, of course. Oh, and with that, office hours, I'm just scheduling them individually with people because it just seems the easiest way to do it, especially in this era. But having said that, and that we're an online class, I'm happy to virtually meet with any of you at any time, individually or as a group. So, I mean, if a class, you're talking to each other and you have a bunch of questions that you want answered or something like that, by all means, I'm happy to come live and talk with you. So anyway, with that said, I hope you have a great semester, and I'll see you online soon.